Hey there, it's Ulrich Peiser with Guitar Ingenuity. Today we want to talk again about the F chord. In the previous video I showed you an easy workaround, or actually two easy workarounds that you can use if you're just not comfortable at this point to play the F chord, but ultimately you need to learn it. Otherwise you'll limit yourself, and it's just too important of a chord to skip that. But in this video I will show you a way where you can practice that finger position that you need in order to play that chord in a very easy and more comfortable way, so that you then, after a couple of days or weeks potentially, go back and learn to play the actual F chord. So again, the finger position is the same, but we're going to play it on the fretboard somewhere else where it's much easier to practice that position. That probably was very confusing. Don't worry, I'm going to zoom you in. I'm going to show you everything in detail, and then we take it from there. Alright guys, so what we want to do today is I want you to be encouraged to really practice and learn the traditional F chord, which looks like this. Now the problem is, especially for guitar beginners, there's too much going on here, and I would say 99% of my students really struggle with that chord, and that's totally natural. So the problem is there's a couple of things going on. First of all, the chord spans over 3 frets, which makes it obviously a little bit challenging. And then obviously the other big challenge is that your index finger bars all 6 strings, and that's very, very difficult, especially for guitar beginners who just don't have enough muscle, for the lack of a better term, in their fingers yet. So the reason why it is so challenging is it's usually not the finger position per se. It's just the position on the fretboard where the F chord needs to be played. So what if you could practice that exact same finger position somewhere else on the fretboard where it's just much easier to put pressure on the strings? And that's very doable. What you can do is you can use that finger position and just move it up toward the middle of the fretboard where it's much easier to put pressure on the strings. So why don't we do that together? But first, obviously, we need to build that F chord. We don't have to play it. We just want to get the finger position. So the index finger bars all strings in the first fret. So make sure it really covers all 6 strings. Then put your middle finger on the 3rd string from the bottom in the 2nd fret. Put your ring finger in the 3rd fret, 2nd string from the top, and your pinky in the 3rd fret, 3rd string from the top. So that would be your F chord. Now we agree, it's just a little bit too challenging right now to play that. But now let's just move the whole thing a few frets over. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now your index finger is in the 5th, your middle finger in the 6th, and your ring and pinky are in the 7th fret. What that does is it is much easier to use that finger position here than it is there, because here you're very close to what is called the nut of the guitar, and it's just so much harder to put pressure on the strings. So if you move the whole thing like we just did into the 5th fret, then it's much easier to play that chord. So why don't we do that together? Let me turn around a little bit. So again, my index finger is in the 5th fret, my middle finger in the 6th, and the ring finger and pinky all in the 7th. So I played it the same finger position we would use for the F chord, but now we moved it 4 frets over. So now technically we have an A chord. So, and you see it's much easier to play it here than it is to play right there. You could just try it out for yourself and see whether you would agree with me. Now the problem obviously is that this is not an F, it's an A. The finger position is the same, but we moved everything up on the fretboard. However, what I would encourage you to do is, as a beginner, practice this finger position somewhere in the 5th or 6th or 7th. It doesn't matter, somewhere in the somewhere in that mid-range of your fretboard. And once you feel comfortable with that, then go back and move it all the way toward the head of the guitar so you can play the F chord. As a matter of fact, that's one song that comes in mind that you can play with this finger position only, and just by moving the whole thing a little bit up and down, and from a technical perspective, it might not be 100% correct, but just for practicing purposes, in order to get accustomed to the finger position of an F, it's actually a good exercise. I'm sure you know the song. So you see, it might not be 100% correct, but you see, all I did was I used the same position and I just moved it around a little bit on the fretboard. It's just very, very easy to do. And if you do that for a couple of weeks, then you feel much more comfortable with that finger position, and your fingers develop you develop that skill that it takes and the strength you need to have in order to play that chord. And then what you can do is move it all the way back, play your F chord, and you will see it's much easier then. And the thing is, obviously, you can use the workaround that I showed you in the previous video. The problem with that is it's like telling a student driver to not practice left turns. And instead of doing a left turn, you would make 3 right turns or something like that. So it's impractical, to say the least, and it really limits you so much. So you really need to practice that F chord, because it broadens that spectrum of the songs you will be able to play exponentially. If you have questions around this video or any other questions around the F chord, let me know. guitaringenuity@gmx.com. Please leave a like, please subscribe, and also please subscribe to my website. I'll see you next time. Till then, so long, bye bye.